Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Killingly Public Library's craft videos. Today we're going to be making some firecrackers. How perfect for some summer decor. You want to start with a paper towel roll, and I've already cut my paper towel roll up. I used a 6-inch piece, a 5-inch piece, and you can take a second paper towel roll and cut 4-inch piece, or you could use a toilet paper roll, which would be 4 inches. You could also make different sizes. I was trying to get the most without the least amount of waste. So use whatever you like. And so it would just kind of, you want varying sizes. So that I went with the 4, 5, and the 6, but do what works for you. Next thing I have are some paper to cover my tubes with. And I went with some scrap wrapping paper that I have, and it's perfect because I'm not sure if you can see, but wrapping paper has the grid on the back, so it makes perfect cutting. I just took my ruler and measured the size I needed, so 6 inches tall. All of the tubes took 6 inches of paper around. And I'm going to do a red one, a white one, and a blue one. Also, I took a jar lid and I traced circles out of the paper as well so that I can cover the top. And in order to cover the top, you want to take a pair of scissors and just snip about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I just stopped there, but you can see the little snips kind of like so, and so that when we do glue this onto the top, it won't pucker as much because we've got a few little slits. So I'm going to continue around with my slits. Okay, so I have my slits. Now before I glue this onto my tube, actually I'm going to glue it onto the short one because I cut the red paper 4 inches. Before I glue it on, I'm going to just kind of fold it in half and make a tiny little slit in here so that I folded it in half and I made a tiny little slit. Now I'm going to fold it in half the other way and make another tiny little slit in the same spot so that just have to find where my first slit is, so that I have like an X kind of a and you want it to kind of be in the center. All right, so I have kind of like a little X cut, and that is going to be for the wick of the firecracker. And you can certainly glue that in before you glue down the paper around the edge. Now I'm just using some twine for my wick. I cut about 2 inches. I didn't measure it. You can make it longer or shorter. I just cut up a bunch to get it ready for the video. You could also try some craft wire if you have it, or a pipe cleaner. And if you were using something like the wire, you could curl it a little, give it a little nice shape. The same with the pipe cleaner, like a silver pipe cleaner. Oh, wouldn't that look so cool? So I am going to glue mine first. I'm just going to stick it into the hole and then put some glue around. I think it will be easier to glue it before I glue it down, just because I want the glue on the underside, and I can't really get the underside after I've glued it onto the top of the tube. So let's glue our wick in place. There, so I just dabbed some glue on and my wick is in place. You could also tape it in if you don't make too big of a cut. Maybe you could even stick it in without gluing or taping. And I'm using hot glue. It always is the best choice for the video because it dries quick. Now I want to just run some glue around the edge of my tube, and then I'm going to put my paper on. Try not to burn yourself as you're pushing the paper down into the hot glue. But you can see that didn't really pucker. It works out very nice by just cutting, like I said, about 1/4 of an inch slits. You don't want it to be too big because you don't want it to show on the top. Now I'm going to take the red paper that I pre-cut and I'm just going to wrap it on the tube, and it will cover the little slits that I have hanging over the edge. You could also just put a piece of tape on here. I'm just going to dab a little glue where I start, and then a little glue where I end. My firecracker. Now you can also decorate. I have some printed paper that I've cut. I don't want to put it on my red firecracker though. I think I'm going to put this on the blue and the white firecracker. But I do have for my red firecracker some stars, some little stars. You could also cut things out of the other color paper if you wanted, maybe some white stripes on there or some stars of your own without the wooden stars. But I'm going to glue on some wooden stars, but I'm going to wait till I get my firecrackers all completed so that I kind of know exactly where it's going to be situated and how I want it. So I'm going to make my white and my blue firecracker now. I have my papers all cut out, and I'll whip them up and let you see them when I'm finished. So now my firecrackers are all made. They're just ready to be embellished with my stars and my cutout paper that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will show you the finished product when I'm done. There, I finished my firecrackers, at least good enough for my liking. Maybe you want to tweak yours a little more. Feel free. Like I said, just went with some designer paper, some printed paper, wrapped it around some of them. You could use larger pieces, smaller pieces, maybe don't use any at all. Maybe you like just the red, white, and blue plain. Maybe you even want to take some twine and bundle them together to look like a bundle of TNT, for instance, or something. But play around and see what you can come up with and create. And I'd love to see your finished projects. Please share them with me at info@killinglypl.org. Thanks so much for watching today, and I look forward to catching you in another one of our craft videos. Have a great day.